Hello everyone. I've had Opal on the mind now for a little bit, and I was fortunate enough to get a couple of nice pieces of fire opal and then one with a bit of color in it. And I thought we'd start to facet them up. I cut this small, I think it's a garnet, and so I kind of wanted to cut another couple of small things. In the light, this is a nice bright orange. This one with a flashlight, you can see the colors a lot better. I'll zoom in a little bit, and there we go. It's nice and clear, a little bit wedge-shaped, but can make for an interesting small stone. But there's a bit of rind on them that we got to cut out, so we'll bring it over to the raytech-shaw in a minute and cut out some of that, probably on a 360. And if you're wondering why I'm doing a voiceover, it's because the original audio sounded like this.
Oh, ow, my face. Yeah.
Well, I thought I was recording, but I was not, and so we've already preformed the gems a little bit and gotten rid of the rind that you saw in the previous clip. Cut a little bit of a flat spot for a table. Have a couple of options with this one, but I think I'll use this as the table side and make kind of a triangular design would be nice. This one I'm still not quite as sure about. It looks a little bit more equine, but we'll get to that second. I think we'll try the fire opal first and then move on to this one. Still have a little bit of matrix material to cut out in the final stone, but it's getting hard to hold. This is the dopping procedure. So I don't remember where I heard this from, but someone suggested using Baby Bell cheddar cheese wax, the rind that it comes in, as a stone holding wax, which is cheap because, we had some already. I didn't have to go out and buy dental wax or other kind of things like Play-Doh or something. And I just got to find the right table orientation here and put it in. And then I'll use a flat dop to kind of make the part that I want flat to be perpendicular. So I have two flat dops loaded in my transfer jig, one to hold the wax and the other one will be to push into the flat side of this, which will be the eventual table. And I push it down on there, set it into the wax, take it out, and then this is the dop that I'm going to use for faceting, which is a lot smaller, and use that to kind of center the stone to where I want it, and it actually looks pretty good where it is now, so I'll just go ahead and epoxy it up. Well, super glue it up, I guess. I don't have epoxy. I have Maxi Cure extra thick, I think 15 to 25 second glue that I use, and I'm just going to put a generous amount around the dop and in contact with the stone. Kind of spread it out a little bit. It doesn't really move very much. You can see it's staying pretty much in place. But I'm also going to add a little bit of accelerant to harden it so it doesn't flow where I don't want it to. Now this may be good enough, but I'm kind of nervous. I don't know how flexible it'll be. So I'm going to do a trick that I heard from Theo Kellison, and I think another faceter might have mentioned it as well. But if you take a strip of paper towel and rip it up a little bit, then you can use that to wrap around the stone, add a little bit of glue, and then the fibers of the paper towel will absorb the glue and cement up. Nice. So I've got the paper towel wrapped around the stone now, and I'll just add a little bit more glue and solidify that up. Now it's time to get things going here on the machine. I'm using a 360 disc just to go a little bit quicker. Even though it's a small stone, I'm impatient. And because it's such a small stone, I'm going to be holding it a lot, so this footage wouldn't really work well, and we'll just kind of end it here. But you get the idea. And now everything's roughly preformed, very rough. Got in the main facets, and then one set of corner facets is cut in way too much. Well, I made a little bit of a mistake and got ahead of myself cutting in these sort of corner facets here. I cut in way too much. I thought I was eyeballing it correctly, but I should have used my magnifying lens. And so you can see I've cut in too much. They're supposed to meet at the culet and also at the girdle, and they're definitely not meeting at the girdle. And so what I did was adjusted the angle a little bit, offset another degree actually, side to side. So it was supposed to be a 1 degree separation, but now it's a 2 degree separation between the main and sort of these side facets. And to compensate for that, I also had to decrease the angle by about a degree in order to meet at the girdle and the pavilion, or the culet. But just kind of adjusting things on the fly, and we'll see how it turns out. And here's the stone all polished up and ready for transfer. Got things meeting basically where I want them to. Maybe a couple of loosey-goosey meets, but that's okay. Things happen. And now I've got the stone transferred and ready to cut in the crown. And I'll do the same thing, cut it on 360, then go to 600, and I'm actually polishing from there because the opal is so soft. The opal's all done, and now it's time to remove it from the dop. Since I have CA glue, I need something that dissolves it quickly, which I have a bottle of acetone, which is dissolving the other side of the dop that I used earlier. Acetone in some opals can damage them somehow. I think I've asked around a little bit, and it seems like this fire opal would be okay. I don't want to leave it in there for too long though, so I think what we'll do is kind of a dunk and try to get it on the glue and just dab off the stone itself so there's not much on there, and let it attack the glue for a little bit of time. And I'm wearing gloves because acetone can be absorbed into the skin. Normally I would just dunk the stone in there and leave it in there for 15 minutes or however long it might take to loosen it. But we're going to leave it on a little bit of acetone on there until I can kind of scrape it away. I also can't do too much with a knife because the knife is harder than the stone, so if I accidentally nick it, then I'll chip the stone or scratch it and kind of undo all the work that I did. You also don't want to breathe in the fumes of acetone too much, so I have a vent behind me blowing out away from me. And so yeah, this is just going to be a process of slowly dissolving the acetone away until I get impatient and just leave it in there for 10 minutes. It's been about 20 minutes and the stone finally came off the dop with a little bit of force, and it's still got a little bit of super glue on it. See, there's still a little bit on the pavilion here. At least from first glance, it doesn't look like the acetone's doing too much to it, fortunately. Put the stone back in there without dropping it, and let it go a few minutes more, pull it out, and look at the final reveal.